Fellow compatriots, I am unsettled by credible intel indicating that another round of Endsars protests are brewing in selected cities across the country, likely to commence this week, and possibly as early as Monday, the 7th of December, in other words, tomorrow morning. Every Nigerian should be worried by the specter of another nationwide protest, for any reason at all this time. Not only is it true that the whole nation is still sacrificed and much traumatized by the violent aftermath of the last round of protests, but ground zero has changed drastically, and rules of engagement this time around will no longer be the same. The last round of protests benefited from a police force subdued by embarrassment at the misdeeds of few of their colleagues and simultaneously held in check by official directives, even from self-defense. Any further protest is likely to run into a police force still enraged by the vicious attacks visited upon her last time. Nigerians are aware of the gruesome slaughter and even cannibalism of at least 22 police officers during the violence that erupted alongside the Endsars protest. This is aside from the scores who were injured and maimed, in addition to the deliberate targeting and destructions of dozens of police stations and other police facilities, as well as the looting of high-caliber guns and ammunition from armories. These 22 police officers were our brothers, sons, husbands, and ultimately, they are Nigerians. While it is true that law enforcement should do her job professionally, irrespective of circumstances, it is even truer that official uniformed men and women who were universally hunted and killed across the country by the hoodlums can be unpredictable, even paranoid. In the face of these, and as the first sitting governor who publicly upheld the right of our youths to protest against police brutality, I cannot, in all good circumstances, agree that the time is ripe for another round of Endsars protests. Moreover, it seems to me that this is the time to consolidate on the gains of the last protest by participating fully in the various panels and bodies set up by the federal government or state governments to look into police brutality, identify perpetrators, and compensate victims. From what I have seen and from what I can see so far, progress is being made at the various panels. Not only are we seeing embodied and emboldened citizens coming forward with their stories of officers involved in human rights abuses, but such erring officers are being identified. No doubt, established offenders will be punished, just like the scores of the defunct SARS officers who have since been dismissed from the force and who may be further sanctioned. Youths have seats on these panels and have acquainted themselves with commendable humility and maturity. I therefore call on them to persevere in the process despite any perceived shortcomings. It is only unwise hunters who does not make time to roast or otherwise prepare what he took in hunting for consumption or commerce. I deemed another round of Endsars protests to be premature and counterproductive at this time. apart from the higher likelihood of conflict with the police earlier canvassed, we must also admit that the security situation in the country is very precarious at the moment. All patriots must therefore make conscious efforts not to degrade a perilous security situation further. Nationwide protests at this time will only overburden the load-bearing capabilities of our security architecture, increasingly the likelihood of total collapse. No matter the narrative, I doubt that out-of-control anarchy is an objective of the Endsars protest.